don't have too much fun out there, kids, because guess what? It's time for another episode of the show called The Island Shuffle.
Welcome to the show where we talk about Lost. We watch Lost out of order, and we never have very much fun.
Not one of these instances of recording or watching the show.
Yeah, we do it out of a sense of duty.
Yeah, a sense of duty. I do it to spite my haters.
I do it actually to spite the network.
to spite noise space.
Yeah, yes. I just felt like I wanted to force someone to host a file on my behalf.
Fair. I mean, that's as good a reason as any to podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I think.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Probably 200 hours later.
200 hours later. 200 easy breezy, incredibly listenable hours later.
Exactly. 200 fun hours later.
Fun?
Might I say fun? Did we mention how much fun we have doing this show?
It's it's a blast. Every ep is a blast, from watching to talking about it to uploading the episode and then finding screenshots and putting them on the Twitter and Facebook.
Oh.
It's all a blast.
Every part.
Every part. We love it.
And we had a great episode this week.
Yeah, it's a really good episode, actually. We were surprised. This is season 5.
Known for having mediocre episodes.
Known for...
So the time travel stuff can be a little bit fun. I like watching Sawyer B. LaFleur, but...
but overall, pretty inconsistent quality.
Yeah, Lost well past its prime.
Yes. Here we have a bit of a barn burner in Season 5, Episode 7, titled The Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and say it. I think it's one of the better episodes of Lost out there.
I cannot help but agree. It's kind of a tight one.
I think it's better than a lot of the early seasons that we have seen.
It's better. It's probably the best Season 5 episode.
By far.
By far.
Maybe the best episode past Season 4.
I would think I might argue for The Constant, but this
Which was The Constant again?
Desmond Goes Time Traveling.
Oh, yeah. That's fun.
That one's a fun one, but this one has, like, I don't know. It ties in with a lot of Lost themes in a way that are fucking, like, it's fun to see Desmond go on a time travel journey. Don't get me wrong, but this one has, like, a thematic resonance with the destiny versus fate shit. This might be the single most nihilistic episode of Lost.
So we get Terry O'Quinn just acting his little heart out.
He's acting his little tiny heart out.
A sweet little guy.
What a sweetheart.
Oh, what a beauty.
He came all this way to act for you, me, and
Dupree.
And Dupree.
Don't forget about Dupree in this one. So this is
here's what I like about the English language. There's the first person, me, and then second person. You don't see a lot of that in storytelling, but the second person is you. More common is the third person, Dupree.
Dupree. In which every character is named Dupree.
Yeah.
You refer to all others as Dupree.
If you've ever wondered why Shakespeare is so hard to parse, it's because every character is named Dupree.
It's tough to... Yeah, he didn't even number them or anything.
No.
Yeah, that guy, though, honestly, if you ask me, he wasn't even that good. People just like him because he's popular, you know? He was a socialite.
You're saying the big ones, I think. You're not afraid to say what needs to be said.
No, I am truly not. So if you need something said, please dial 555 say now, buddy. And I will be there on the other line, and I will say whatever you need.
That's such a great service that you've offered for years. Service to the community.
For all the Duprees out there.
I'm surprised that you can fit it into your schedule.
Yeah, well, it's all I've got going for me right now, so I will drop anything to say what needs to be said.
Is it a great source of income? I'm wondering how you monetize that service.
I have not figured out a way yet.
I feel like it's a pretty simple, like, I'll like this many words gives you this many dollars. You should try that.
You know
sometime.
what? I had never thought of that.
You should try that. I feel like
that makes a lot of sense.
If this is
so what would you say, like 1,000 words for like 20 cents or something?
That seems reasonable. That seems reasonable. Start there.
Yeah, start there. See if that's
See how
a
much,
price that my customers are willing to pay.
and see if that makes you money.
Oh, maybe I could charge by letters and vowels cost more.
Whoa.
I could Wheel of Fortune it.
Wheel of Fortune rules.
I'll get Pat Sajak to endorse my brand.
He will. That guy endorses anything.
Sorry, I said Pat Sajak. I meant Dupree.
English is confusing. English is one of the hardest languages to learn, and I think this is why.
It's the Dupree conundrum. If we just got rid of that rule, perhaps a lot of my business would go away because most of the words people phone to have me say are just Dupree.
Well, you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
You know what I love about Dupree?
What's that?
3 vowels.
Oh man, you're gold mine.
Exactly. Pat Sajak loves it for that very same reason.
Some people can only afford duper.
Duper. Super duper.
Wasn't there a show we were watching? Lost?
Lost. Yes, Lost.
A scant 4 letters and 1 vowel. Not quite as profitable.
This is a episode that we can actually just go through chronologically.
Yeah, we can go through because there's one long unbroken flashback.
Yeah.
So we might as well just start from the top.
And the top sucks.
The top's not great. Remember Caesar? Remember the man?
No.
Remember the man who gets shot by a gun and then dies?
He's with his friend Alana.
You remember Alana? She's in charge for a while and then blows up.
Yeah, she blows up. She crashes on a plane.
Yeah.
A week later, she is like Jacob's right-hand man for some reason.
Yeah, she's like, actually, I'm the real servant of Jacob. And it's like there's already a whole faction of people about this. What are you talking? Anyways.
But they're in a bunker.
They're investigating a bunker. Caesar finds a shotgun and a flashlight, and they're just like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Ilana's like, guess what? We found a man. You know how you and I crashed here on a plane? We're pretty sure this man wasn't on the plane. Let's go say hello to him. And so they go out to the beach, and everybody's gathered around a man who's cloaked in a robe. Just having a regular one.
He is a beautiful robe.
Mm-hmm.
You see the back of his head. He's like on his knees by himself beside a fire as well. There's a bunch of people. Well, there's like 10 people
there. There's like 10 people, and they're just like looking at him. They're not saying
and he's just quietly in a robe, head down.
And then they're like, hey, my name's Caesar. What's your name? And they're like, well, my name, it's none other than, takes off his hood slowly, John Locke.
And his bald head
and his
bursts through your screen. This part was actually in 3D. And his bald head, some say that you could taste his upper, the ceiling of his head.
The old head ceiling.
Yeah,
It's important to maintain head ceiling health.
Head ceiling health.
Lest you get dandruff.
You don't want things coming out of from your head, so you have to seal your head.
That's exactly
head
it.
Sealing.
Head sealant.
Head sealant. I just use gum.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be the first person to put gum in my head.
Name anybody else.
Literally everyone who's ever chewed a stick of gum before. That's what you do with gum. You put it in your head and you chew it.
Am I the odd one here?
What do you do with it?
When I'm done chewing it, I spit it in the trash.
Well, but when you're chewing it, it's in your head. Logic,
Fuck, dude. Did I just
logic and I don't know. It's a bit of a life hack to know that.
Damn, huge life hack. When you chew gum, it's in your head.
It's in your head. That's a life hack.
That's a great life hack. I think I
know.
The
life and times of a hack.
That's our life story.
But so John Locke is there, and then they do that, and then just beginning of a flashback, right?
No, it's not that. So this scene is happening at night.
Oh yeah,
this scene is happening at night. Lost title credits begin. Next scene is Locke standing at the beach. Alana walks up to him and is like, "Hey, what's up? My name's Alana." And he got you this mango, wondering if you could talk. So here's what I like about that, is that the idea is that night passed. And now Locke is just outstanding. So what happened, like, where he was just like, my name's John Locke, and everybody was like, all right,
Time for bed.
bedtime.
Yeah, we resolved that one. We know his name. Time to shun him until the morning time. It's like, especially Alana is like supposedly the number 2 in this scenario, right under
Yeah.
Caesar,
Yeah.
who dies, and then she becomes number 2 to Jacob, aka God.
Yeah.
So would she not talk to John Locke at one point?
Would she not? Yeah. Would this not be a vested interest? Anyways, they decide to sleep on it, which
Uh-huh.
is kind of them. And Alana gives John a mango. John says, this mango is good and I like to eat it. And Alana's like, hey, were you on the plane? And John's like, nah, here's the thing. I don't know how I got here. I was on this island, and then I left. And you know what I remember? Well, I remember dying.
Fuck.
And then Alana walks away. Just drops the conversation and walks away.
She just leaves.
Yeah, she just leaves rude.
For no reason.
This-
It's like, I would respond.
I would have questions.
Yeah.
I would say at least elaborate.
Exactly. Or say, like, I'm sorry, I have to go back to the mango tree.
Exactly.
At least excuse yourself as
just
well.
walks away.
You're in
rude.
the midst of a convo
Rude with a dead man.
with a dead man, with Mr. Dead himself.
Mr. Grateful Dead himself.
Mr. D.
Mr. D. Mr.
Mr.
Dupree.
Deeds. Do you remember that movie?
I
Adam
do.
Sandler.
I do. I remember. I don't remember much of it. I remember. Does
He
he
gets
pee
rich?
Does he pee on a wall? Or is that
Definitely.
okay?
Adam Sandler pees on a wall in every single one of his movies.
That's why we go to see them.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait-
Peeing on a wall, and then we all leave the theater and we pee on walls
Yeah, in honor of
in honor of the Sandman.
in honor of the Sandman himself. How better to cement his legacy?
Sandment. No, cement.
Cement.
Yeah.
It's already called cement.
How better to cement his legacy than urine on hard cement?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what all my friends think. And honestly, society at large probably agrees.
All definitely agrees. The Sandman is a brand man.
Boy.
Advil over Tylenol. What other brands does he like? Kirkland everything.
All Kirkland everything.
Yeah. If things rhyme, you can just say them.
That's-
This is my motto for life.
This is kind of the thing about this is that it's very disappointing how much that is true for me. Like not even when I'm trying to be like a funny joker on a recorded podcast. In real life as well, I also commit heavily to just rhyming because it's an anti-joke. It's like so not a joke. You just are like, this is so dumb I have to say it
exactly.
out loud. Or
I
else
feel like I do that a lot.
or else I'll be cursed with it forever.
It's a very useless habit.
Yeah.
No one has ever. I've never done that and then had someone go, "That was good. That improved my day in some way."
You really contributed.
Yeah, exactly.
With that one.
Oh.
What a curse. What a curse we bear. What a burden.
I feel like a thing I do a lot is like whenever I'm at a function or if I'm in school, especially a lot of my classes are like smaller, like 15 people classes, and then maybe the prof or someone will say something, and then I will sort of like say a joke response quite quietly or a bit under my breath, and then maybe the two people right beside me can hear it, and then like maybe they'll smirk a bit. But I imagine like if you're the prof or something and you're watching this happen again and again, it's like, what a dick.
No.
This guy just like cannot help from.
I cannot tell you how many times I just like say a joke out loud to myself. It's no good.
It's no good.
It honestly needs improvement.
But that's why, that's why you're here, listener.
That's why you're here.
That's why you hold up your end of the bargain.
Because you enjoy to hear it.
Exactly.
We hope you enjoy to hear it because we got more where that came from. The tank's not running dry.
The tank is unfortunately full. But you know whose tank is not full? Apparently the tank of the truck that's supposed to pick up John Locke.
That's true. So flashback begins.
And he is in Tunisia.
He's in Tunisia.
So what we should explain what just occurred.
Yes. Remember when John Locke went to the inside of the island and found the wheel that was jumping off of its axis?
The wheel of time.
The wheel of time. So he had to readjust it so that time would go back to normal.
How could I forget?
How could you forget? Memorable scene. He pulls that. Last we see is he, readjusts the wheel, and it starts to go, and then big flash of white light emerges, and
Christian is there, Jack's dad, and he says, "Say hello to my son."
And Locke says, "Who's your son?" And then whoomp, and then Tunisia.
He wakes up in a desert in Tunisia.
Yes.
And for some reason, there is a desert camera.
There's a camera. There's a single camera tied there with like many telephone poles. The only electrical wire around. Everything else is just remote
it's
and
looking
barren.
exactly at the spot that John Locke is at.
John Locke gets up, throws up, realizes his bone's still broken, and then pleads to the camera, "Please help me, please."
And then he waits.
Night falls.
Nightfall happens, and then a truck comes, and our first question was, why did it take them so long?
Yes.
They had...
They do not immediately, you have this camera pointed at a patch of nothing.
Yeah.
And then a man appears on it.
Check the desert camera every once in a while.
Check it once in a while. Do you not have a guy for that? Anyways.
Actually, it might be incredibly far away because John Locke... So these guys come and they're in like an old dusty truck.
Yeah.
And they have like AK-47s.
Yeah.
And they pick up John Locke and they put him in the bed of the truck.
Yeah.
And then they drive him, and then it's the daytime
It's the day
again whenever he gets to this like bizarre hospital.
Yeah, he gets to like a really like shoddy tent hospital where he like drinks from a dirty cup, and everybody's screaming and hooting and hollering, and the doctor's like shouting in Arabic, and everybody's like ah, and Locke is like, "What's happening? Are you in? Does anybody here speak English? Ah," and like everybody is like, it's a very chaotic scene. And it's, a classic just, like, panicked surgery scene. Like, shoves like, a bitey piece into Locke's mouth.
Block?
Locke is not having any of it. Locke's unhappy about it. And the doctor, goomph, does the old boom, shoves the bone.
Shoves the bone back in?
Shoves the bone right back in. Locke
Get that bone back in, John Locke.
Can't have that bone out here.
No exposed bones in my hospital. You get your bones back in, or I'll put the bone back in for you.
You bring this man in here? And his bone's just hanging right out?
What are you thinking, John Locke?
What on earth?
Keep your bones in your body. None of us want to see that.
Honestly, that's just courtesy. Keep your bones in your body.
Well, he's getting this done. We see our friend.
Yes.
The guy from The Wire.
The guy from The Wire, Matthew Abaddon, played by Lance Reddick, is peeking in behind a cloth.
Peeking in behind a cloth. And we mostly have seen him so far in Lost just like being places.
Being places and being mysterious. The 3 scenes we've seen him in so far are he recruits the entire like freighter crew, like Daniel, Miles, Charlotte. He, in the past, goes to Locke when he's going through physical therapy and says, "Hey, you should go to Australia for a walkabout." And then he also visits Hurley, post like return Hurley, and says, "I'm a lawyer for Oceanic, but I think something's up." And Hurley's like, "This guy's a creep." Those are the 3 times we've seen Matthew Abaddon, the mysterious guy.
And now he's in Tunisia, hiding behind a veil, watching Locke get his bone put back in place.
Like a real weirdo.
The veil part is weird.
He's not even like helping. Like if you're like
he is not.
Maybe if he was like helping contribute order to this chaotic scene, but he just stands there motionless and watches.
And then John passes out.
Yes. Cut to waking up. He's awoken, and who's sitting by him?
A wit.
A wit?
A Whitmore. Charles Whitmore. Old Chuck E. Cheese Whitmore.
Give it up to Chucky Wid, baby.
Chucky Wit.
Chucky Wideload.
Chucky Wideload. Chuck Fromage.
La Charles au fromage.
And he's like, "Hey, John, do me a favor, would you? You got to get him back.
You got to get him all back. You got to bring him back to the island." And Locke's like, "Hey, listen, slow down, bucko. Aren't you a bad guy?"
Oh, yeah. And he's like, "No, I'm not." And then John Locke is like, "Okay, good enough."
Basically, kind of. They kind of have a whole like back and forth about it, where Locke is kind of like, "You sent a whole freighter of evil men to shoot up the whole island. What's up with that?" And Locke's like, well, I had to get Ben. Me and him are at war. It's kind of the deal.
We're at war, bud. Also, they have an interesting little discussion where Whitmore's like, John Locke, like, I remember you came and saw me when I was like 17 years old or something, and now here you are right in front of me all this time later. Then he asks, like, how long has it been for you, John? And John says 4 days.
And
So time.
Yeah.
Time
makes fools of us all.
Time makes fools of us all. Let's all go to the ball.
Good song.
Yeah, it was an advertising campaign for the ball.
Oh, the ball.
Because the ball has really fallen out of fashion lately.
I know, we should bring back the ball.
Yeah.
Everybody bring your finest gowns, your most elaborate jeweled pieces, and, of course, the brooch upon your breasts.
The brooch upon your breasts. And every ball needs a bell.
Every ball needs a bell. Every ball needs the finest quartet in the land playing
a quartet.
Playing minuets. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I hope so.
What if Cinderella's glass slippers broke on her feet?
That sounds likely.
And then you have a scene. So she's like running, and then both of her slippers break at the same time, but she really needs to get to where she's going, so she keeps walking. But there's these shards of glass like embedded in her feet, and there's a trail of blood.
So you're proposing the same movie, the same Disney cartoon, except that she's just bleeding from her feet the whole time.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
So you're just like, that's like the gritty reboot kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. It's not the worst gritty reboot
Could
idea
be
I've
a
ever
worse
heard.
idea, right?
I like the idea of it being totally identical, except for suddenly her feet are bleeding.
And the prince just finds like this bloody piece of glass, and then he has to run it through like the DNA samples. He's like, she's not in the database. So they have to look around for a lady who has like these massive cuts on her feet.
And there's a lot.
so many.
So they have to check them all.
There's all these attractive women who are like, maybe my cuts match the ones. So you're like, no, your feet have two like long and straight cuts on them. I'm looking for someone with more sporadic and jagged cuts.
I don't like it anymore. That's I think where the bit loses me.
Yeah,
is when we start talking about the physiology of cut feet. I think that's where I think you're gonna lose the fans.
You know what? I didn't want to say that, but someone phoned my hotline and said, you gotta say this.
Oh,
you
my
gotta
God.
say this on the air.
I can't believe how that service gives you an out to any awful things that you say.
I didn't want to say it. But
I got paid 20 cents a vowel. I gotta.
Exactly.
So, yeah, this scene with Widmore is interesting for a lot of reasons. It would talk casual chat about time travel. Widmore kind of like trying to earnestly pitch that he's the good guy, which you don't really see a lot of.
No,
I find
you
like
don't.
most of Widmore, he's just
Whitmore
like,
is always like very obviously a supervillain.
yes.
But then in this moment, I don't know why the pitch works.
It like works on me too. What's the deal?
Yeah. I was like, I guess it's just, if Whitmore is the bad guy, it's like you want someone to be the good guy between Whitmore and Ben.
Yeah.
And there's so much evidence that Ben is not good.
That's exactly. Yeah, here's what got me.
Yeah.
Here's what got me is like Locke is raising all kinds of good points like we, have been trying to escape you this whole time. Why should I suddenly trust you? And Widmore says, I haven't tried to kill you yet. Can you say the same of Ben?
Totally.
And like,
so, yeah.
Big big point for Charles.
So it's good. Yeah.
It's
and
good.
Charles he explains to Locke that like Charles has been watching all of the survivors, and he's like, go find him. He shows him a picture of Saeed building a home.
Yeah, he's like, I've got all the info here. Here's where exactly everybody is. and you've got to round them all up and convince them that they left the island and it was a mistake, and that you've got to bring them all back.
And Locke is like, chill.
He's like, all right, let's do it. Also, Widmore says, hey, here's my man Matthew Abaddon. He's going to be your driver, help you around, get you whatever you need. And so much of this episode is just Matthew Abaddon being like a cab driver
It's
to
cool.
Locke.
I like it.
It's cool.
And then sometimes he'll say something that Locke doesn't like, and every single time Locke goes, aren't you just my driver? Or like, I thought you were my driver.
And he always replies with like something smarmy like, I'm more than just a driver, Mr. Locke. If you've ever seen Lance Reddick act, it's he does a lot of like, in this episode he does a huge amount of like lowering his brow and kind of like sassily looking at Locke and like giving him the eyes, the big eyes,
the big red eyes,
the big old
Lance Reddick has the reddest eyes in the world. It's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
We'll get to his big scene. Oh, did I lose my notes? No, they're right here. So
they drive to the Dominican Republic.
We drive from Tunisia to the Dominican Republic, and there we find Saeed building a habitat for humanity, and doing some good in the world. And he sees Locke, and he goes, "Uh-oh." And Locke says, "Hey, come back to the island." Saeed says, "No, never. I left the island, and I got to spend 9 months of my life with the love of my life.
Yeah.
And then I did a lot of time murdering for the wrong man.
Yeah.
Ben manipulated me into doing a lot of murders. So you know what? I don't want shit to do with the island. I'm doing all right."
Fair enough.
Fair enough. And Saeed's kind of like, hey, so Ben's manipulating me into doing this. Who's manipulating you, Locke? And Locke's like, no, I'm just came here. I just happened to be in the neighborhood. Yeah, right, buddy.
Just wanted to come see old buddy.
Old buddy, Saeed, remember all the good times?
Back on the island,
Yeah.
hunting boars and
I love to play with knives, and you got captured by that French lady one time.
Ah, Rusey.
Yeah, remember her? Don't you
Russell. What was her name? Russell?
or you guys were
Ronette?
we're thick as thieves, I remember. Oh, baby.
Tight like tigers.
This is how Locke sounds now, I
Yeah.
guess. Hey.
You know what I like about Locke in this episode that we
that?
didn't mention? Because his bone was just broken and then
Yes.
reestablished.
Mhm.
He's in a wheelchair.
Yes, he's in a wheelchair for the majority of this episode post Widmore conversation.
And Matthew has to just wheel him around,
Mm-hmm.
which is fun.
It's true. So after that, we go to New York City. Big
Yes.
Apple. Big Apple, bright lights, big city, skyscrapers.
Le Pomme Grande.
La
Le
Pomme
Grand Pomme.
Not a small apple. No, sir.
Ce n'est pas une petite pomme, non,
Non.
monsieur.
Non, monsieur, c'est une pomme grande.
C'est une pomme grande.
Hmm.
C'est New York City.
C'est la Nouveau York.
C'est la Nouveau York.
So, in Nouveau York, Walt is there. Remember Walt?
Walt is there, and he is leaving school.
Walt is leaving school and is a teen now.
He is a teen now.
He's a teen. Who could it teen now? It's Walt, of course.
It's Walt, obviously.
Yeah.
We've said this several times already. I'm surprised that you still don't.
Just to be absolutely clear,
Yeah,
it is Walt.
it is Walt.
Remember
Remember Walt?
Remember Walt? Remember how Walt was a kid that we were like, oh, maybe he has psychic powers or not, and then they had to write him out of the show because he got
too big.
He got too big. Well, they brought him back, and Locke says, "Hey, Walt, how are you doing?" And Walt says, "I had a dream that you were on a suit." And Locke says, "Well, good thing it's just a dream." Classic Locke stance of dreams are meaningless. Notorious non-believer of dreams.
Shun the non-believer.
Mhm.
Do you remember those videos? Charlie the Unicorn?
Oh my God.
Shun the non-believer. Shun.
I remember Charlie. I remember that was a early viral video that I got sick of.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, this guy's mad. That's
Yeah.
funny. But boy, people fucking
Some
loved
people
it.
liked it a little too much.
People would play it on the projectors in class sometimes.
Oh, that's no good.
That's no
I
good.
could get down with salad fingers. I liked that one.
Yeah, that's
It's scary.
it's unsettling.
Yeah.
Salad fingers is upsetting.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me of upsetting internet content.
Yeah, and in this scene, it's like 2006.
It's like
So this is right in the thick of it.
right in the thick of it. Walt is like, "Hey, Mr. Locke, you ever heard of salad fingers?" And Locke,
and then they just watch it.
they just watch it, and Locke says, "Well, I gotta say, this is pretty unsettling."
This is disturbing imagery, young man.
And yet it charms.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Is there any more to this series?
Mr. Locke, you ever been on newgrounds.com?
I'm more of a fortune boy myself.
Awful. Oh, I don't like the idea of Locke being a 4chan boy at all.
It's too real.
It's awful. Nobody... Okay, canonically, no main character of Lost has ever logged on. They do not have Facebook accounts.
That's true.
They do not have twitter.com.
I heard a rumor that Locke is actually a moderator at r/knives.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the only one.
Oh. Oh well.
So yeah, they reminisce about all the good times throwing knives into trees, and then Walt's like, "Well, gotta go, be a teen some
Later,
more."
buddy.
And Matthew's like, "Aren't you gonna bring him along?" And Locke says, "You know what? That boy's been through enough." And
that's that.
Oh yeah, Walt asks about his dad too, and Locke gives him like a non-answer. He's like, "I don't know. Your dad is dad, you know."
Your dad is still your dad.
Your dad is
Walt's like, I haven't seen my dad in 3 years. And then Locke is like, later.
Walt is literally like, "Did he go back to the island?" And Locke is just like, "You know, who doesn't?
Who cares?
who? It doesn't matter. It should go have fun. Here's a knife.
Yeah, here's a knife.
Here's a
Kill
keepsake."
yourself on the knife.
So yeah. And then Abaddon kind of roasts him and is like, "You're 0 for 2, buddy. So you know, got to step up your game.
Try again.
Try."
So then they go to L.A. Go see Hurley.
Yes, they go to they go see Hurley, who has checked himself into the Santa Rosa mental health facility.
Yeah.
To treat himself for mental illness.
Yeah. Seeing dead people and stuff.
He's seeing dead people, and he's not happy about it. And so when Locke rolls up, Hurley's like, "You have is that broken bone how you died? That makes sense." And Locke's like, No, I'm real, my man."
I didn't die.
And Locke says, and then Hurley kind of just goes, "Wait, who's that man? That man's evil. He came to visit me, and he was no good. We're done. No more conversation."
That's what happens.
That's what happens. And then we get a good thorough convo of Matthew Abaddon where he explains like, you know who I am? I get people to where they need to be. And that's all we get out of Matthew Abaddon.
We skipped over. I skipped over. Locke visits Kate before this.
Yes. Locke does visit Kate, and Kate is also like, it cuts right to like the start of the scene is Kate being like, "The answer is no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to the island. Fuck off and go to hell.
I have a kid now, John.
I have a kid.
Have you
John.
ever loved anyone?"
That's true. Kate hits him with the, "Have you ever loved anyone?" And Locke goes, "You know what? I did love someone once. Her name was Helen. And you know what? We were gonna get married, and you know what happened? I blew it. I was angry. I was obsessed." And Kate says, "Look how far you've come in a big roast."
Oh, and John skulks away.
And sure enough, he's mad. He's having a rough go.
He says, "Why you always gotta be like that, Kate? You always make me feel so bad for just being who I am." And Kate is like, "Geez, I'm sorry. I don't want to go to the island."
You roll up into my house like this, and I just don't. I thought you were I assumed you were dead.
I thought you were dead.
And you're telling me to go back to the place where a lot of bad shit happened.
Yeah.
Where I'd never want to go back.
Fuck.
They go to visit Locke's ex's grave. Turns out Helen's dead. You and I haven't met Helen.
No, we haven't met Helen.
But trust me, Helen was Locke's old GF, and Locke is now sad that she's dead. And they have a
fair enough
sad scene.
I'd be sad about that.
It's an upsetting scene. And then, guess what? Matthew gets gunned down.
He gets gunned down right by their car.
Right by their car.
Locke is in the car. Matthew is like putting his wheelchair in the trunk, I guess.
and then he gets domed.
He gets killed.
And then Locke frantically rushes to the front seat and drives away, but immediately crashes. And then wakes up where? Hospital. Not just any hospital.
Jack's hospital.
Bada bing.
Jack is in the room.
Jack is in the room. His depression beard is starting to form. And he is pissed. He's like, why are you here? Locke responds with, it was fate that I was brought here. What are the odds that I would end up in your hospital of all places,
of
Jack?
all hospitals, Jake.
Jack replies, it is not fate that you ended up here. You were driving on the west side. It is just your location. It is just coincidence that you are here. And Locke wastes no time in being like, we have to go back. Here's the thing. And this feels like, so like a classic thing of Lost. Jack says, this is like, Jack is a practical man. He's about finding a helpful solution. No ifs, ands, or buts. Locke believes in a greater purpose. But so much of this episode has been Locke trying to pitch that purpose to everyone and everybody rejecting him and saying, like, I'm not interested in whatever you're pitching. I'm not interested in going back to the island. I'm not interested in getting back involved with Ben or Widmore. I'm happy here. I'm happy outside of the island.
Jack doesn't seem happy.
And they don't necessarily seem happy, but it also all comes with an interrogation of, like, where Locke is at.
Yeah.
They're all like, why are you here? What are you doing? And the, like, culmination of that is Jack says, like, did you ever think that you're not special? Did you ever think that maybe you're just a lonely old man who crashed on an island? And Locke is kind of like, no, all of this is happening for a reason.
This is destiny. Don't tell me what I can't do. He just re-gives the whole speech.
The whole speech. Don't ever tell me what I can't do, ever. And Jack is on his way out, and Locke hits him with the big bullet. The big bullet of your dad says hi.
Ooh.
And Jack's my. What do you make of that, Jack?
Jack, what are you gonna go do now?
And Jack says, well, my dad's friggin' dead, so you must be off your gourd.
Yeah, my dad's dead, sucker.
And Locke
check and mate.
And
mate.
Locke says, well, a man named Christian said, say hi to Dad. Couldn't have been Hurley.
Say hi to Dad. Say hi to Jack.
Say hi to Dad,
Say
Jack.
hi to Dad.
Oops, I mean.
He said, who's your daddy? That's what he said. And I said, you're my daddy.
How wild would that... Okay, Locke turns the wheel of time. It readjusts. The white light begins booming. Christian just is like, who's your daddy? And Locke says, gross, what? Boom.
You're
in Tunisia.
My daddy. Oh. Yeah, that would be good.
I think that'd be good. This episode's pretty strong. We've got a few tips though. We got
couple of rewrites.
Couple of rewrites here.
Quick
and there.
amendments to the script.
Not enough dupree. Not enough who's your daddy. For real though, that is like one of the strongest Jack and Locke scenes, and Jack and Locke scenes are like the strongest.
Yeah,
like
totally.
It really doesn't get better than when Jack and Locke are together, and like Jack is also like on the cusp of like entering a spiral.
Totally. He like looks tired.
He looks tired. He looks
and
fucked up.
Yeah.
And like Matthew Fox doesn't really do like I find a lot of Matthew Fox's performances as Jack are like hammy in not a good way.
Yeah.
In a way where it's just like I'm shouting because I'm mad.
Yeah.
But like this feels like there's something, you know.
Because I feel like Matthew Fox is Jack as opposed to all the other Jack. I feel like Jack usually like comes across as so strong-willed, and so like he has the answers, or at least he believes that he has the answers. But here it's like he just is so tired of it all. Yeah, it's great. It's the highlight of the episode for me personally. So. Next we get a crazy scene.
Next we get another big scene. Heads up. Maybe skip ahead a couple minutes if you're not comfortable hearing us talk about suicide. Because this episode has a lot of suicide talk in it.
Yeah.
Or this scene, rather.
This scene sort of caught me off guard.
Yeah. It's fully Locke just entering a lonely-ass hotel room. Bag full of hard cable, some kind of cable. He
Power
hobbles
cord or extension cord, like
Extension
an
cord.
outdoor extension cord.
Exactly. And we see him like fully hobble, like tying it up, tying a noose, like climbing onto a desk, and just like crying.
Yeah.
Like fully just like on the verge of
He's
tears.
failed. His love is dead.
His love is dead. He's failed. He
his mission. He was like on a mission, and then this person died.
And was he ever really on a mission? Was he
Yeah.
just a pawn in this game between Ben and Widmore?
Uh-huh.
Was his specialness just that he crashed on an island and could
Is he just a sad, lonely man?
Is he just a sad, lonely man? And there's like they kind of play the scene ambiguously, because a thing about the past is that a thing that keeps getting brought up is like Richard said, "I'm Locke," and Richard said I had to die to bring everyone back.
Uh-huh.
So part of that is like, is this Locke, trying to pull this?
I have to die.
I have to die.
Yeah.
This is the only way. But also some of it is really just Locke.
Yeah.
The like forebear, like by all means, like not the most consistent character on the show, but like for the entire show, like the avatar of faith, effectively.
Totally. Yeah. He is like the priest of
Yeah.
the show.
And
even
like,
when Echo is on.
Exactly. And even though he's like trying to like convince himself, like, maybe this is the sacrifice, you can tell also that he's thinking like he's just fucking like
He's
gone.
sad.
He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And it's just like fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is heart-wrenching.
And shout out to Terry for fucking once again
Yeah.
knocking this particular scene out of the park.
And then he puts a noose around his neck.
Mm-hmm.
He's about to step off. Then there's a knock at the door.
Mm-hmm. And who could it be?
It's Benjamin Linus.
Who could it been?
Who could it been? And he's like, "Hey, it's old Benny boy.
And
How are you doing?"
And he says, "No, don't kill yourself. You've got so much to work for." And right away, Locke is like, "No, I'm working with Widmore. He's your enemy." And immediately pieces together, "Oh shit, you killed Matthew Abaddon."
Uh-huh.
And Ben's like, "Well, I had to. He was gonna hurt you. He's with one of Widmore's men.
You were just a pawn for Whitmore.
You were just a pawn for Widmore." And like immediately like does the reverse thing of that Widmore was just doing, of being like, "Charles Widmore, he sent a boat. He's the reason I moved the island. He's the reason we're all in this. Like, of course he's the bad guy. I want to help you, John. We need to get you back to the island because you have so much work to do." Like he does that, and Locke, he manages to eventually coax Locke down from the ledge, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And Locke's like crying and saying thank you and shit.
Yeah.
And Ben's like, of course. Now listen, I know you're feeling despondent, but you haven't tried Sun. And guess what? Also, Jack bought a ticket to Sydney. Sydney to Los
It worked.
It worked.
He bought a return ticket to Sydney. It leaves tonight and it goes back tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
It's like he is trying to get back to the island.
He's trying to get back to the island. You got Jack. If you can get Jack, you can get anybody. Come on, buddy. Up and at 'em. Rise and shine. Let's see those pearly whites smiling again.
And Locke is like, I can't bring Sun. I promised Jin that I wouldn't bring Sun back.
Yes, that's true. We do see that happen, don't we?
And he says, Jin gave me his wedding ring and told me to tell Sun that he died.
And Ben's like, you got it. Promise is a promise.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's sort of what gets him, actually. He's like, well, you need to go do that.
There's one...
Promise is a promise.
Yes, a promise is a promise. And he also says one more thing, which is, Locke says, Christian Shepherd told me that once we get everybody, I don't know how we're going to get everybody, we got to go see someone named Eloise Hawking. I don't know where to find her yet, but we'll figure it out. And Ben says, all right, sounds like a plan. And then without missing a beat, strangles Locke to death.
Strangles Locke to death.
And that's how Locke dies.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's a scene that really fucking goes up and down.
Strangles him with the very noose that he was about to kill himself with.
Talks him down from suicide and then kills him.
And then kills him, and not in a quick and easy way. It takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's
a creepy scene.
It's a creepy scene, especially creepy because he ends up propping up the body, dusting off the scene.
Oh, totally.
He fakes Locke's suicide effectively.
Yeah.
And then Ben goes, all right, later days, pal. And then that's the flashback.
Yeah.
We get one final scene on the island where Locke is kind of chatting it up with Caesar for some reason. Who cares? And Locke is like, oh, you mean there were other people on well, how many people were all on this flight? I'm trying to, piece this all together. And Caesar's like, well, everybody's out. Some people vanished from the flight. And then there's the people who are hurt, which are over here. And guess what one of those people be?
Ben
Linus.
And Caesar's like, do you know this guy? And Locke delivers the last line of the episode. He says, that's the man who killed me.
God damn.
Yeah, it's a cool line.
Cool line to end the episode with. Great episode.
Incredible episode of TV. It was very dramatic.
I will reiterate that, like, the fucking whole thing of, like, putting the Avatar of Faith through, like, really through the ringer.
Yeah.
And have him, like, come face to face with the possibility that, like, no, you're not special. This is not a magical thing. You may have warped through time.
To watch him finally, like, maybe lose faith.
Yeah, like, for real, was, like, a powerful journey. And I find the, like, off-island shit where everybody leaves is really incoherent most of the time.
Yeah.
But having Locke as the thread through it, going from person to person to, like, try to convince everyone, really fucking works.
Good.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
That episode was that I went into that episode like kind of like hesitant, but it really blew me away.
Yeah, honestly. I thought it was really very, very good.
I was top tier for sure.
But I have some questions about it.
You know what? I mean,
or I have answers maybe?
No, well I've got questions.
Okay. I have answers then.
This episode, I'm sure as you know, posed many questions that will be answered in future episodes. Now, the website lostpedia.fandom.com/questions and answers was kind enough to assemble all these questions and where we can find their answers. So here's my first question. Why was Locke resurrected on the island?
Because his body traveled back in the airplane that Ben charters, essentially, that's carrying everyone back. And then the smoke monster got his body.
There you go.
And decided to use it for his bidding.
That's what we were looking for. The thing we neglected to mention is that that's not really Locke. That's the smoke monster.
Oh, yeah. All of the Locke on the island. Because he dies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Locke on the island from now on is the smoke monster.
Which, by the way, like, the first time you see this episode, it's framed as like, oh, Locke really is special. He got resurrected. And knowing that he's just got another tool in the smoke monster's game adds another degree of like bleakness to this show that's normally like, maybe it is all faith kind of. Maybe there's really something special out there. This is the most like fucking like bitter ass episode of Lost.
This is one of the parts too that like they were building to this. They've been building to the idea that like the smoke monster can steal the bodies of the dead and whatnot. They've also been building Locke as like a bit of a Jesus figure. And this was maybe, of all of the things that they tried to do over a long period of time, the only one that worked.
I would argue that yes. It's
like
certainly
Locke being possessed by the smoke monster, especially watching it happen.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it afterwards, and it's like it doesn't even work great half the time, but watching it occur.
Yeah, watching the build up to that is way more exciting than the actual payoff, as with many of Lost things.
I guess so. Yeah. But yeah, so it's good.
It is good. Why is Widmore trying to help Locke and the Oceanic Six get back to the island?
Because they need to get back to the island for some unknown reason.
Because they gotta. The actual answer is Jacob has visited Widmore.
Oh my god.
Supposedly,
whose side is Jacob on?
Supposedly convincing him the error of his ways and informing him about the importance of the candidates to protect the island.
Jacob is an idiot.
Jacob is a dumbass dipshit. It's like, that's what's great to me is that like we have this like ambiguous like Widmore, Ben, no one's really the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then to be like, but actually Jacob's good and the smoke monster's bad.
Jacob is bad.
Jacob's bad.
Yeah.
They like it's ridiculous. I don't have time. What is the coming war that Widmore spoke of?
No idea.
Oh, the war against the monster.
There's a war against the monster?
I think they're referring to, like, remember when in season 6 Widmore brings a fucking team of nerds?
Yeah.
That's the war.
That's the war.
Great war, dude.
4 people with guns.
4 people with guns and some machines.
That is an awful war.
Bad job. Brother. What was the nature of Walt's dream about the surrounding people trying to hurt Locke?
I guess that was, like, Locke on the island that we see in this episode?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The others angrily surrounding the man in black in Locke's form, following the murder of Jacob.
Yeah.
The Man in Black is commonly what they call.
So I haven't even seen that yet.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No,
because I didn't see Jacob get murdered. But
No,
I am
that's true.
excited to.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one for sure.
I hate him.
Here's the big one. Why did Ben talk Locke out of suicide, only to murder him moments later?
I actually don't know.
Change his mind.
Really?
No.
Oh my god.
Imagine.
Okay. Changed his mind. He's a flip-flopper, eh?
Can I get avocado? Actually, I'll get pistachio.
Uh-huh. Oh,
It's
that's
just
a
like
pretty
that.
bizarre
Who
change,
among
honestly.
us?
They both end in O, but that is where their similarities cease.
Yeah, going to the store, ordering one avocado, then returning it for one pistachio.
Pistachio instead.
Bad restaurant, bad menu.
Awful. Yeah, that's one Yelp review I'm excited to read.
So the actual answer is, Ben claims he needed the crucial information, that is, Jin's ring and the name of Eloise Hawking. He also claims that he murdered Locke in order to bring everyone together to get them back to the island. However, he later apologized and admitted that he had murdered him, wanting his leadership of the island.
Weird. Okay, that's okay.
So a lot of reasons.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. Good episode. I liked it.
Great episode.
Yeah, fantastic. Sometimes an episode is good, which is always a welcome change of pace.
You want to watch another?
We got more, baby.
All right, I'm here at random.org,
And
a random number generator.
And I'm here at the list of all the episodes we've watched.
Holy shit.
What do we got?
I did 1 to 60 and click generate. 59.
Oh, man. Oh, damn it. We're so close to the finale. Shit. All right. Season 6, episode 16. What They Died For.
What They Died For.
The pre-finale.
The pre-finale. Is it about anyone? I assume not.
Not about anybody.
I bet it's shit.
It's definitely gonna suck shit. There's no way it's gonna be good.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Let's watch
What
it.
are you
What do
gonna
you
do?
say?
We had to watch this episode one day.
Why not today? Why not next week?
Wow. Well, we watched a good episode of Lost, so now we must be punished.
I mean, that's just how it goes, dude. There's no way to win.
That's funny.
All right. What do you say we do the old wrap up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
I'm Bean. You can follow me on Twitter at Barrier Trio.
I'm James. You can follow me on Twitter at James Brown or at jamesbrown.space.
This is true. You can follow the show on facebook.com/The Island Shuffle or at Twitter at Island Shuffle. And we are also, is there anything else going on right now? You got some podcasts. I got some music. This is a long episode. I'm going to try to keep this brief.
Yeah.
And just skip right into the Noise Space shout out. Shout out to noisepace.xyz podcast network hosted by online friend Matt. Tons of good podcasts on there. Check them all out. They're good. I'm gonna recommend Jergin It because it's a funny show. Hey, you know how we watch Lost and we're sometimes like, this show sucks.
Yes.
When I listened to Jergin It, the show about this podcast about the show The Secret Life of the American Teenager, we are blessed. That
really?
show is
oh my god.
that show is a nightmare from top to bottom. It sounds like.
Good. Someone must be punished.
So you hear that?
Someone must be punished.
Sorry, Sam and Jordan. You heard it here first.
You must be punished.
You gotta. So that's I recommend them all. They're all very good. But my voice is getting tired. So what do you say we just go and say, like we do at the end of every episode?
Get lost.
I get knocked down.
But I get up again.
You're never going to keep me down.
I get knocked down.
You know what? I just get right on up again.
You're never going to keep me down.
We have a lot in common.